Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wednesday, March 19th, 2025 meeting of the Lake Havasu City Planning and Zoning Commission. Would you please rise and join me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Susanna Ballard. Commissioner Joan DeZuro.
Here.
Commissioner Paul Lair.
Here.
Vice Chair Tiffany Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Lonnie Stevenson. Chair Jim Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Gabrielle Medley. Commissioner Mary Costa. Commissioner J.P. Thornton.
Here.
Commissioner Phil Annette.
Here.
Okay, we have a couple of vacancies today, and I have filled those with Ms. Costa and Mr. Annette as our alternates. Correspondence and announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Want to inform the Planning Commission that on March 11th, the City Council approved 60 retail centers general plan amendment and the rezone. They also sustained the recommendation of the Planning Commission not to grant an exception to the exterior materials. And then they also approved 40 retail center, the rezone for that project as well. Additional update on April 8th, the consultants for the new general plan that will go active hopefully in 2026. Upon voter approval, the council kickoff will be on April 8th. And at that same time, the public participation plan that's required will be presented for approval by council. That will guide the public involvement in the process. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gilbert. All right, minutes of the last meeting. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections to the minutes of the last meeting by commissioners? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Jim?
Ms. Wilson?
Motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Wilson, a second by Mr. Thornton to approve the minutes of last meeting. Are there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, let's call for the question.
The motion to approve the minutes passes 7-0.
All right. Let me start by saying that this is a public hearing and there is a structured order to this proceeding. The city staff will present each item. There will be time for the commission to ask questions of the staff, and then the applicant will have the opportunity to present their case to the commission. That being done, we will then open the proceeding to the public for their questions and input. I would ask that anyone of the public that wishes to speak limit their trips to the podium and microphone to one only. Keep all comments to less than 3 minutes and to stay on point and not discuss subject matter that is not pertinent to the decision being considered here today. After public testimony is taken, I will then close the public hearing and bring the motion back to the table for city staff's exceptions and conditions of approval, discussion amongst the commission, and eventually a motion to approve or disapprove. And I thank you in advance for your cooperation. The first item on today's agenda is ID 25-4706. And this is a discussion and action to approve resolution 25-01, amending the parking and common master plan for 2185 Acoma Boulevard West, exchanging the existing parking and common area on the northern portion of lots 35 and 36A for a parking and common area along the west portion of the property, tract 2199, block 2, lots 35 and 36A. Mr. Gilbert, your presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is located on Acoma Boulevard West between Havasupai Boulevard and Chaparral Drive. Zoning map, the subject property and properties to the south, east, and west are zoned general commercial C2 and developed as commercial uses. The properties to the north across the alley are zoned residential limited multifamily district, R3, and are mostly developed residential uses. The PIC master plan, the previous parking in common master plan approved by the Planning Commission was for lots 36 through 39. The parking in common master plan approved in 2005 was never built, and the property was split. Lot 36A, a portion of the previous parking in common plan, has since been combined with Lot 35, making the approved plan not feasible. There is currently an existing building on Lot 35, but there is no developed on-site parking area. And this next slide, the reason why this is necessary, this request today, the proposed site plan for that property. The applicant's attached letter of intent requests to amend the PIC master plan to mitigate design challenges due to existing property conditions. There is a 4-foot grade differential from the northern property line to the existing building. I'm sorry, did I say 14 foot? Their plan is to demo the existing building and design the site to reduce the grade of the parking lot from a 9% slope to a 2% slope. They intend to build a new 5-unit commercial project for uses allowed in the general commercial C2 district. The applicant provided a site plan that includes 39 parking spaces to serve as the PIC master plan. Staff received no objections to the request from any review agencies. The applicant has met the 75% minimum approval requirement with approval from 15 of 16 property owners within the subject properties block. Mr. Chairman, I'll get to staff's conditions after answering any questions and hearing from the public and the applicant.
Okay, are there any questions of staff by commissioners? Anybody at all? Okay, hearing none, I'll go to the applicant. Is the applicant present? Would you like to make a presentation? It's not necessary, but all right. At this point, then, I'll open it up to the public. If there's anyone in the public that wishes to speak, anybody at all, pro or con, now is the time. Please come forward and state your name for the record.
My name's Richard.
The microphone, turn it on there. No.
Hello?
There you go. That way the recording will pick it up.
My name's Richard Pritchard. I live right behind the project. I'd kind of like to know what they plan on putting in there. That was one of my questions. And as far as there going to be any kind of partition behind the alley to block our view of the building or people, I'm just concerned what's going in there more than anything.
Mr. Gilbert, do we have any indication of what's going to be put in there?
We do. They're kind of taking the steps in the right order. They're needing the parking in common amendment so they can move forward with the project. So we don't have a whole lot of detail yet. But what it's going to be is it's going to be an office building. Since it's commercially zoned property, it's just going to be a standard office building with multiple general commercial type uses. They don't know who yet because they don't have people signed up. That'll happen once the building's built. But it'll be offices, some light retail, multi-tenant. It's not going to be typically it's not going to be a single tenant occupancy on these new projects.
Would we have a choice of what goes in there or say? I mean, you can put anything in there once it's built.
Well, the zoning right now is if they went with the parking in common the way it is, they could construct. Using the existing parking in common, they could construct a conforming building without any public involvement at all because it is zoned for C2 general commercial. The public does not normally get say into properly zoned projects. The reason this is being modified is because there are difficulties on the property making it hard for them to develop with a high grade for the parking right now. So they're going to modify it, put in their own parking instead of sharing parking with the neighbor. That's what the hearing is about. If this is approved today, there won't be any further public involvement in the project unless they had to come back for a planned development to ask for exceptions, which we don't believe is going to happen.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about the noise factor. I mean, I literally am 40 feet from this project. It's closer, 30 feet probably. And I just wanted to kind of know what was going to go in there as far as noise or traffic.
Sir, if it's already zone C2, there's already guidelines as to what they can and cannot put on the property.
Okay.
So if they're doing something within the confines of that zoning, then
Are they going to have access to the alley?
Yes.
I would presume that they will have access to the alley.
So everybody in the parking lot can go out the alley as well.
On their site plan here, sir, if you, this is the alley on the west side. North is roughly this way. Your property's over here on the left side of the screen across the alley. They do have parking shown directly off the alley. And then the rest of the parking is down the side of the building that's proposed out to
We did
Houma,
have the
which is here.
project down below with all the new apartments they put in. The traffic has gotten people come through the alley now at 40 miles an hour. You know, I'm just concerned about the traffic and the noise.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate your input. Is there anybody else that has anything to say on this particular item? Anybody at all? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of this item and bring it back to the table for staff's recommendations.
Mr. Chairman, if I may add, based on the comments that we just heard, during the design review phase, the city engineering staff will review and comment, and traffic concerns are part of their review. So if they have any issues with the flow of traffic on the alleyway, then they'll submit comments back. They'll have to be addressed by the applicant.
Thank you, Mr. Gilbert.
Staff conditions for complying with code. Oops, let me get the right slide here. There we go. Number 1, the development shall substantially match the site plan, new PIC master plan attached to the resolution. Condition 2, design review to ensure compliance with all applicable city codes, including driveway locations and parking, is required prior to development of the properties. Condition 3, any deed restrictions that need to be amended are required to be recorded with Mojave County. And condition number 4, the proposed parking spaces in parking in common for shared parking, the future uses shall be limited to a 40% reduction in required parking spaces. And that's standard from the parking in common citywide. Mr. Chairman, that completes the staff conditions to meet code.
Okay. We are now at the table for discussion and or a motion. Commissioners, anybody?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lair.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve resolution number 25-01, approving land use action number 25-4706, amending the parking in common master plan for 2185 Acoma Boulevard West, tract 2199, block 2, lots 35 and 36A with the following conditions. 1, the development shall substantially match the site plan, new parking in common master plan attached to the resolution. 2, design review to ensure compliance with all applicable city codes, including driveway locations and parking, is required prior to development of the properties. And 3, any deed restrictions that need to be amended are required to be recorded with Mojave County.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Lair and a second by Ms. Zuro to approve ID 254706 as stated. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, let's call for the question.
The motion to approve the resolution passes 7-0.
Congratulations and good luck. The next item on today's agenda is ID 254715. And this again is a discussion and action to approve resolution number 25-02, amending the parking in common master plan for 3433 Maricopa Avenue, exchanging the required parking in common area along the southern portion of combined lots 18, 19, 20, and Parcel G, Block 18 of Tract 2217, for a parking and common area in the north central portion of the property. Mr. Gilbert, your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The subject property is located on Maricopa Avenue between Lobo and Pecos Drives. Zoning map, the subject property and properties to the east and west are zoned Commercial Southgate District, CSGD, and either vacant or developed as commercial uses. The properties to the north across the alley are zoned Residential Southgate District, RSGD, and are either vacant or developed residential uses. The site plan and PIC location map, approved parking and common plans exist for the Commercial Southgate District from Lobo Drive to the west. Lobo Drive is west of this property and from there west, but not for this section, although the tract map designated building line implies parking in front of the buildings in anticipation of a future plan being approved. The request is to relocate the front parking area to the existing parking area in the north central portion of the property, so the front part can be used for a customer product display area for the building materials store that is located on the property, and this is a permitted use in the Commercial Southgate District. The applicant's attached letter of intent requests to amend the designated PIC required location area for the purpose of locating a building materials store. The business would use the already existing screen storage areas, which you can see on the aerial. There's this area here that's for storage, and there's one over here. And there's a former 20-foot owned remnant parcel that was purchased from the city located here, which does have utilities in it. So it's still an easement. That was never taken off it. And they will install improvements on the Maricopa frontage, including landscaping. They can see that on the drawing. There's the entryway, catch basins, and landscaping along the street frontage. Some comments were received from engineering staff and outside utilities that can be addressed during design review. The applicant has met the 75% minimum approval requirement with approval from 3 of 4 property owners within the subject properties block. Mr. Chairman, that completes staff report. I answer any questions you may have, and the applicants are here, and I'll get to the conditions for code compliance later when following that.
Are there any questions of staff by the commissioners? Any commissioner questions? Hearing none, is the applicant present? Would you like to make a presentation? Please come forward, state your name for the record.
Lenny Matzdorf, I'm the applicant. The only thing I'd like to point out is the address 3429, which is a lot closest to the lake, the west lot. As when I purchased it, it had already been approved for what we're asking for that one particular lot. So the other 2 lots and the easement will marry them all together, but that one lot has already been approved for that. So that's all I want to do is make that statement, or if there's any questions to answer them.
Okay, any questions of the applicant by commissioners? Thanks, Mr. Matzdorf. All right, this is a public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this item? Anybody at all? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion and bring it back to the table for staff's conditions of approval.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff's conditions, number 1, the development shall substantially match the site plan attached to the resolution. Condition 2, design review to ensure compliance with all applicable city codes, including driveway locations and parking, is required prior to development of properties. And condition 3, any deed restrictions that need to be amended are required to be recorded with Mojave County. And that completes the conditions.
All right, commissioners, we are at the table for discussion and or a motion on this item. Ms. Wilson.
Mr. Gilbert, could you, what potential deed restrictions is the city looking at? Like I've noticed this now come up twice. What deed restrictions are you thinking may need to be put into place?
Throughout the city, especially in parking and common areas, there are, dating back to the McCulloch private development days, there are deed restrictions that were used to manage planning and development prior to the city being incorporated in 1978. And those deed restrictions, many of them don't just expire based on time. They require certain number of the properties to agree to various changes. And those are private. So the city has no power to enforce private deed restrictions. That would be done through the courts if necessary, if problems come up. But we do always like to recommend, so the property owner is aware, when they purchase the property, they should have had to assign documents agreeing to abide by any deed restrictions that came with the property, including parking and common requirements. And those would need to be amended privately.
So we're not aware of any deed restrictions. It's just kind of a basic warning that if there is something, you guys need to take care of it on your own.
Correct, because we have no power at all to enforce private restrictions. It's much like an HOA situation where we can't get involved in the HOA's deed restrictions, but they can and use the courts to enforce what's on their books, as an example.
All right. Any other questions of staff? All right, we are at the table for discussion and or a motion on this item. Ms. Earl.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve resolution number 25-02, approving land use action number 25-4715, amending the parking and common master plan for tract 2217, block 18, lots 18, 19, 20, and parcel G with the following conditions. 1, the development shall substantially match the site plan attached to the resolution. 2, design review to ensure compliance with all applicable city codes, including driveway locations and parking, is required prior to development of the properties. And 3, any deed restrictions that need to be amended are required to be recorded with Mojave County.
All right, do we have a second? Mr. Annette. Mr. Annette seconds the motion. We are now at discussion. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, let's call for the question.
The motion to approve the resolution passes 7-0.
Congratulations and good luck. All right, we are now at the call to the public. This is the portion of the meeting where anybody can address the commission on any subject whatsoever. We may not respond, but is there anybody that wants to address the commission? Anybody at all? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and close the call to the public portion of the meeting. And future meetings, Mr. Gilbert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next scheduled meeting, which is April 2nd, it will be canceled due to no items for the agenda, so you guys get a day off. And we'll stay in touch with you on upcoming meetings beyond that.
Okay. Thank you. We stand adjourned.